tabs for the exercise I've played at the beginning are in the description. Today we're going to try to start to unlock our fretboard visualization through learning the 5 positions of the pentatonic. And at the end, I'm going to show you a bonus trick and a pro trick that I use. Just try and learn the exercise you've seen me do at the beginning and then start practicing it for the rest of your life, because I still do it. I've been doing it for like 15 years at this point. So this exercise is just a fun way to make you remember the pentatonics rather than just practicing them one by one. It's a nice way to connect them all together, so it makes it easier and more fun to practice. So learn the exercise, try and speed it up with a metronome gradually. And if you struggle with speed, I've put together a system for you. The link is in the description. It's literally a course where we focus on developing speed. Anyway, this exercise is based around the 5 positions of the A minor pentatonic. In every scale, there are as many positions as there are notes. So in other words, the pentatonic scale, as the name suggests, has 5 notes. Therefore, there are 5 positions, 1 position starting from each note of the scale. Position 1 starts from the root note, which is A, which is right here. And that's the position that everyone knows, okay? I'm going to put the tabs in the description for all these positions. The exercise I've shown you starts from this position, just because that is the first position we encounter when going through the fretboard horizontally, but that technically is the 5th position because it starts from the 5th note of the A minor scale, which is G right here. So yeah, I've shown you the first position, but actually we're going to start from the 5th, okay? So the 5th position starts here, 3-5, 3-5, 2-5, 2-5, 3-5, 3-5. Very simple to remember because it's just the same pattern twice, then the same pattern twice, and then the same pattern twice. If that makes sense. And by the way, you can use whichever fingers you want to use. The 1 finger per fret rule doesn't always apply. It's not as strict as people think. Then we got the first position, which starts from an A. That's why it's the first position, because it starts from the root of the scale. Then we've got the second position, which starts from a C right here. Then we've got the third position, which starts from the D right here. I'm doing all these little runs at the end, just because I like to find my root note at the end. That's why I'm doing, just because I've got into the habit of always looking for the root whenever I play scales, so that when I go and improvise, I know how to find my way around them rather than just playing a scale up and down. I know how to close my phrases in a musical way, which we're going to talk about in a minute anyway, because right now this is not music, this is just playing scales up and down. Music is something else. These are just tools that then you can use to go and play actual music. Anyway, we left it at the 3rd position. Then the 4th right here. Sometimes I like to finish on the 3rd. This is a C, which is the 3rd of A, which is still part of the A minor chord. That was the 4th. And then what happens is octaves repeat. So we started on the 5th position right here, and now we find it again 12 frets up, because as we know, any note that you find on the guitar, if you go 12 frets up, you're going to find the same note an octave higher. So if this is a G right here on the 3rd fret, on the 15th fret, which is 12 frets up, we're going to find another G an octave higher. So the same exact position repeats. And then again, we're going to find this, which is the 1st position, just an octave higher. And that's all 5 positions. These positions are quite essential and they're quite easy to remember if you consistently play the exercise I've played at the beginning for weeks and months and years to come. Once you've learned the 5 positions, the next step is to know where the root is in each position. So in this case, A, because it's in A minor. Because when you go and improvise, the least you want to know is where the root is. If you don't know where the A is, you don't even know how to finish your phrases, and your improv is just going to sound like you're doing scales up and down rather than playing music. The root notes are marked anyway in the tabs down below, so That's going to help you when you practice. So let's quickly go through the root in each position. So in the 5th position, which is this, it's right here, that's an A, then here, that's an A, and then here. You need to know that. And then on the 1st position, right here, right here, right here. Easy, because on the 1st and 6th string, we have the same notes. So obviously if this is an A, that's going to be an A as well. And then the other one is here. Then we've got the 2nd position, and we're going to find it here and here. So then we've got this, and it's right here, and then here. Those are both A. Then we've got this position, and the A is right here and right here. Then again, we've got the 5th position repeated, just an octave higher. So the root is here, here, and here. Then we've got the 1st position repeated. So the reason why this helps you unlock the fretboard is that obviously it unlocks all the notes of the A minor pentatonic. So if you were going on YouTube and putting on an A minor backing track, you can find your way across the whole neck if you learn these 5 positions. So that doesn't mean it's music, it just means you've unlocked part of the fretboard and you can now play wherever you want. But you need to learn to find your own licks in each position. Don't just go, that's not music, okay? You want to find your licks in each position and make them musical. So for example, let's say 5th position, that's a lick. 1st position, 2nd position, 3rd position, 4th position, and so on. You can find licks across each position and sounding musical whilst doing it, rather than just going up and down the fretboard. That's just an exercise for you to train your brain to find the notes across the fretboard. It's not music. Just want to stress that. Truly unlocking the fretboard is a lifelong process that you chip away at. It's not something that you learn in one day, but this is a very good tool to start in that direction. It's going to take many tools and approaches to really unlock the fretboard. This is just one of them. To fully unlock it, you need to learn chords, scales, arpeggios, the cage system, triads, etc. Until one day, it all comes together and it connects. Once you unlock the fretboard, it feels a bit like when you're driving around a part of town that you didn't know very well, and all of a sudden you see a street that you know, and you're like, I see it now. That road that I've been driving on this whole time actually is connected to this. You know, that's exactly what it feels like when you start to find positions on the fretboard. The exercise I showed at the beginning is just a fun way to practice connecting all 5 positions. I've been doing that since I was about 17. I'm 31 now, and I'm still not bored of it. So I hope you start doing the same for many years to come. Go on YouTube, put on a backing track in A minor, play the exercise. Even if you have to stop sometimes, that's fine. And then practice stopping on the root notes. So all the A's in this position, all the A's in this position, so on across the whole fretboard. Now, if you want to learn a bonus trick, learn the diagonal shape. So basically what it is, it's a pentatonic scale that connects the 5th, 1st and 2nd position all together. It looks like this. It allows you to be so musical. So what it is, it's 3-5, 3-5, slide to 7, 5-7, 5-7, slide to 9, 8-10, 8-10. See, that's what it allows you to do. It's really cool, and it's a must-know scale. So technically you already know that scale because you know the 5 positions, but this is a good way to connect them in a very musical way, rather than just going up and down here, up and down here, up and down here. You know, it's just a way to diagonally connect them. Now, if you really want a pro trick, you have to learn this in every key. Start with A minor, master that, and only move on once you've mastered that. But once you have, try and find it in E minor, in B minor and all that. So for example, if this is the E minor, the 5th position will be here, the 4th position will be here, and so on. So make sure you practice that across the whole neck in all different keys. That's how you truly unlock the fretboard and how you make those connections in your brain that take your playing to the next level. That's it for today. As I said, the tabs are in the description. Please like and subscribe. If you've got a question, just put a comment down below. I'll reply to every single one, and I'll see you in the next one.